It has been a little while since I've done any videos on the chicken tractor. So I figured I did a little work to it today. I might as well kind of document a little update. These are all meat birds. They're all actually roosters that I think I fell into a little bit of a trap about ordering roosters for meat birds, but hey, that's another story. I'm still learning things about this whole chicken farming thing, so that's that. Anyway, we have a feeder station, a water station. That's the only water station, and you can see there's a hose hooked up to it, and the hose is on a float. And so that hose keeps the water full, and then there's also another float that fills up that little green thing. So they've got water all the time. This holds a little over 50 pounds of food, and so does that. And currently they're going through about 25 to 30 pounds of food per day. So that's quite a bit. I have these ladders that I built that are kind of making do as a roost, and everything is hanging from this main beam. The structure of the chicken tractor is holding up just great. And then I've got these little adjustable clickers. So depending on the ground surface, like that, I should be able to lift that up and let it be suspended. I did have to modify the chicken tractor a few times. One being, I cut the axles apart. I welded in these extensions here. So that way, as I push down here, it doubles my lift action. I added a little retainer bolt that's just sticking in a hole because this arm could get a little loose, and it started peeling up the little retainer I welded in. I added this old exhaust manifold basically because the other side was so heavy. I wanted this to actually hit the ground because this netting is open right here, and once it's down on the ground, the netting kind of automatically closes. I also added myself a little flag, so when this flag hits that top pulley, I know that this side is up. I can't really see the yellow lever hit the orange stop while I'm on the other side of the machine. Now the business end. A lot has changed over here. I did have the winch hooked up to this lever, and just today I added another pulley here. I added a pulley here, and then I moved the winch to this block of wood on top of the arm on the outside. It's quite challenging to open and close the door all the time and keep the chickens in. And also, there's a lot of poop on the ground. And being summertime, I don't like to step in it all the time. So I added that, and it seems to work just fine. I'll show you here in a minute. Those are pulleys from a Wheel Horse Mule Drive. Not like it matters. There's not really a parts list for a chicken tractor, but one more Wheel Horse item. I added that little bolt, and that just goes through and just sits in a hole. I also added a little 1.5-inch square tube on top of the arm, and that helps give a little bit more lift. You can see some areas where there's a little bit of a gap, and when I'm on uneven ground, and especially once this frame's up in the air, the chickens were getting out. So we ripped up this old, actually it was brand new, we ripped up this trampoline net and screwed it on. So now when the frame comes up in the air, none of the chickens can get out. So you can probably see some zip ties here that I can reach right in. When this winch was inside, mounted on that other arm, it kind of released the latch a couple of times and freewheeled and ripped this net more than once. So there's a couple spots of this net where we've had to add and fix and tie back together, and hopefully this will kind of prevent that. So I'm gonna flip that. I did grease this so it's got a little bit more noise making ability and it's a more firm stop. But I'm gonna crank this up. I also have a, I don't know if you can see right here, I've got black painted cable. When that black painted cable comes to here, that should mean that that flag over there is up and the whole thing's as far as it can go in the air. There's my black paint. I'd say it's up in the air enough. So let's see if we can fire this thing up and move it up the hill and show you how it rolls. Now this does seem a little bit wasteful for the time being, but when the other chickens come out in free range, they'll clean all this up. They sure do enjoy that fresh pasture. Now after I move it, I just got to pull that net back a little bit, about like so. And then it'll be time to bring it on down. If you hadn't seen the gap I was talking about, that's all loose netting. And once that arm goes back down, it closes right up. A better latch is definitely one of my action items to do, because that does get quite challenging to open and close. And keep it closed when we're moving it, keep the birds in, all that jazz. So now I can flip my switch the other way, hold that net back. and it's pretty much down. Maybe someday I'll put an actual wheel on that crank, then it'd be less likely to get caught up in there. Maybe. Now that it's moved, the last thing I've got left to do is make sure that everything's up in the air. Pretty much the only reason I do this is just to give them a chance to clean up underneath. I guess another reason is because I can. Well, thanks for checking out my chicken tractor. I have another list of things to do. I'm guessing that'll be done after slaughter day. And until then, I think this will work. They've all been safe. I've caught a couple predators out there in the live trap, but otherwise, they're just happy, dumb chickens doing their thing.